It's just enough to be wild for the evening. We fall apart to start believing. I know this feeling drips down my body, and the sadness is the real thing. And I
Hey, good morning, Gold Creek. It is December. It's official. I am excited. I'm so excited. I'm shaking this table. I'm excited because it's Christmas time. It's the holidays. And quite frankly, I just love eating. And the holidays is all about eating. So I'm excited to be here. Excited you guys are here. We are getting close to the end of 1 Year Bible reading. We know this because we are today, this morning, in Revelation chapter 1. Revelation is the last book of the Bible. That means we're coming to the end of 1 year. So if you've been on track or you're staying pretty close, great job. If you're behind, try and finish. Maybe jump ahead and finish. It's worth it. And then most importantly, in January 1st specifically, that is the day we start 1 Year Bible at all of our campuses. We're going through it step by step. I encourage you. Scripture never comes back void. It's worth it to jump in with us. It's going to be awesome. Now, before I jump into where we're going today, which is Proverbs in today's reading, I want to talk about Revelation. First thing about Revelation, because the reading for today, this morning, is Revelation chapter 1. First thing about Revelation is this. It was written by John. John was the guy who wrote 1 John, right? We just got out of that sermon series if you're at any of the Gold Creek campuses. And he wrote the book of 1st and 2nd and 3rd John, the Gospel of John, and also Revelation. And in 1 John, it says that he was banished to the island of Patmos. If you were to go right now and Google Patmos, you will find it still there today. The island of Patmos back in the day was a prison camp. So they would send prisoners there to work, essentially till they died. And John got sent there, and John was 90. He was old when he got sent to the island of Patmos. So he was sent there 90 years old, working hard labor as a prison camp. And while he was there, God gave him this final vision, this final law and direction of what was going to happen. Now, the most important thing you guys need to know about Revelation, the book of Revelation is good news. It's good news because it tells us that finally evil is going to be wiped away and evil will be conquered and destroyed and Jesus is going to reign and we will be in heaven. So when people say Revelation is scary, no, it's actually a book of encouragement. It's a book where it tells us that God is coming back and he's finally going to stamp out evil. So it's a good thing. So Revelation coming at you this month. You got to know also that Revelation was the last book accepted into the canon. The canon was what is decided that will be a part of the Bible and be literally the inspired words of God for us. Because we believe the Bible's living and active. It's not just a book. It's literally right and wrong. It's the only place we can go to know what's real and what's not real, what's right and what's wrong. That happened at the Council of Nicaea, I think in the year 8400-ish or 300-ish. And the book of Revelation was the last book that was decided, that was the last vision that God gave humanity before Jesus came back. So there's Revelation. Here's where I want to go though. In today's reading, the proverb in today's reading, very simple. It's in Proverbs 29, verse 18. It says this: when people do not accept divine guidance, they run wild. But whoever obeys the law is joyful. So when I think about obeying guidance and law, it's a lot of like words I don't like, right? Because like I feel like I've always had a rebellious spirit. I've always like rejected when people try and tell me something, tell me what to do. I've had to figure it out myself, whether it's good or bad. But then, you know, for me, what has always made sense is God's law. When I read the Bible, it makes a lot of logical sense. I'm a very logical guy. So when I read the Bible, there's things like don't kill people, like makes sense. Be married to one person. It makes sense. Don't have sex outside of marriage. Like it makes sense. There's all these things that make sense. And so for me, the Bible has been easier to understand the law. But in verse 19 or verse 18, they talk about divine guidance. And they say divine guidance, without it, people run wild, but those who obey the law are joyful. I think there's universal principles that point toward God. Romans chapter 1 talks about that anybody who's been outside sees the heavens and the earth. They know that God is real. And the same thing, one of the I would call it divine guidance, universal principles, things that we should live by, is being truthful and honest. When I think about divine guidance, I think about that. It's like, if you live by divine guidance, you're going to live a joyous life. When I think of divine guidance, universal principles, it's honesty. I'm one of those guys when it comes to this. I always talk about integrity. If there's anything that you can do today, from this point forward, it's to choose to be honest. Because the truth is this divine guidance thing. It's this universal truth. Everybody loves people that are honest. Honesty is how you can lead people because they can trust you. It's how trust is built. All of the things that we love in life are kind of built around trust and truth. And that's ultimately rooted in this divine guidance. And I have this thing that's ran so true in my life. It's that the truth always comes out. The truth is better than the best lie because the truth always comes out. So when it comes to divine guidance, what it says is that those who accept divine guidance will be joyful, or those who obey the law will be joyful. And it's because something like truth, if you just choose to live a truth-filled life, be honest, whether it's hard at the time, it always works out at the end. There's these universal principles that happen. I feel like there's lots of these universal principles out in the world. You go outside. I love the nature and the outdoors because it's an easy way to point people to God. When it comes to being an integrous person, believe it or not, being a person of integrity is a rare thing today. And it points people to God. All I'm saying here with our proverb for this morning is we have an opportunity with these universal principles that everybody understands and sees because they're not religious necessarily, but they're kind of principles that are divine guidance. Everybody agrees to them. Truth, and all these things. If we do that, if we live these lives, it's the best way for me to share my faith with people, for me to invite people back to church, for me to invite people to Christmas. There's so much opportunity for that. So my hope and encouragement for you today, this morning, it's be truthful, be honest, follow God's divine guidance, be rooted in Scripture, and you're going to find yourself influencing people for good. Love you guys.